Hello my pretties, the witch is back. Oh, yeah, dog swap. Today we're gonna talk about the summer solstice. Dogs don't wanna be in content. Bless you. Herd chef, also known as Litha or Litha, and also known as midsummer. But not that one. Of course, the summer solstice is a celebration of the sun because it's the longest day of the year. So the one with, the most sun. For me, as of filming this right now, I have a week ahead of the summer solstice. So when I was looking for inspiration, I found a lot of the usuals, lighting candles, having a bonfire, and one of the other common themes that I saw was honey cakes. I have never actually made honey cakes, but when I heard honey cakes, I thought about one of my childhood staples, Loukoumades. Loukoumades are like a Greek honey donut. Every summer as a kid, I would go to and sometimes participate in this Greek festival, and Loukoumades were like a street food staple at this event. I have a strong Hellenic influence in my practice because of my ancestry, my background, and in some ancient Greek calendars, the summer solstice is considered to be the first day of the year. All of these things kind of lined up for me perfectly. It reminds me of summer, it's honey cakes, it's Greek, checks all of the boxes. I did try to make these predominantly vegan. However, I did use honey. And if you don't want to use honey, there is an alternative for you. I will put all of my links and information in the bio so that you can find the recipe as well. So come along with me on another experimental baking hour. Experimental baking hour. This mini batch made about 18 of these small donuts. Start by mixing 1 cup of flour, 1.5 teaspoons of sugar, a sprinkle of salt, and dry active yeast. I actually used rapid yeast to save time so that I didn't have to wait an hour for the dough to rise, which may have affected my outcome, but they still wound up being delicious. So if you're short on time, the rapid yeast will work. After mixing my dry ingredients, I added a 1/2 cup of water and a 1/4 cup of almond milk. You can use any milk that you have on hand, any alternative milk that you need to. These wet ingredients should also be added in lukewarm rather than cold so that they work best with the yeast. Then stir to combine. If you're using regular dry active yeast, you'll want to let this rest, preferably in a warmer room, until it doubles or looks bubbly on top, which can take about 1 to 2 hours. So if you're like me and using the rapid yeast, we can move right on to the next step. In one pot, I'm putting a 1/4 cup of honey and a 1/4 cup of water to make a honey syrup. If you don't want to use honey here, you can use maple syrup instead. I brought it to a quick boil while stirring, and then I put it on a back burner to let it simmer while I moved on to the Loukoumades. In another pot, I added my frying oils. I did 1/2 canola oil and 1/2 avocado oil because canola oil isn't exactly great for you, but avocado oil is expensive, so I met it halfway. I also didn't measure this, I just sort of eyeballed it until I thought I could fry up some donut holes in it. With my honey syrup simmering in the back, I heated up my oil and began to fry the dough by the teaspoonful. Dip the spoon in the oil between teaspoons to keep the dough from sticking to it and slowly set them into the oil. It does take a little bit of practice. The first one sank because my oil wasn't hot enough, and the ones after turned out a little odd. Don't be discouraged, just hang in there. Oh, what have I done? Okay, these are kind of it. I don't know what happened here. It'll still be delicious, it's just not as cute. We are working with hot oil here, so part of my learning curve was to drop these in very slowly, using another spoon to scoop out each teaspoon into the oil to reduce splashing and also so that they start cooking before they get just plopped in. That kept them from sticking together. Flip these every now and again until they become golden brown, and then they're done. Once they are all cooked, I rolled them in my hot honey syrup, drizzled some extra honey on top of them, sprinkled them with some cinnamon for abundance, and they were ready to enjoy. For a first time of making these, it was actually pretty easy. I do wonder if they would turn out differently if you used dry active yeast instead of rapid yeast. Of course, I was trying to whip together this video in a hurry. I also reheated them in a toaster oven. I found that kept the crispiness on the outside, and in fact it made them a little bit more crispy on the outside, and then kept the fluffiness on the inside, and then drizzle a little bit of extra honey on top, so they were nice and fresh, just as delicious as they were when they first came out. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If you try to make these, please let me know how they go, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!